Welcome back to the deep dive. Settle in because we're about to unpack something really interesting that just landed in our sources. Today, our mission is to dive deep into an article from Volt China. Think of it as a sharp, industry-focused look at the tech and auto world in China.
Right.
And it's all about Xiaomi's brand new SUV, the YU7.
Yeah, the YU7. Big news.
It is. And this isn't just another car launch. The source frames it as a direct, ambitious challenge specifically aimed at the global bestseller, the Tesla Model Y.
Which is quite a statement from Xiaomi, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when you consider their trajectory in the electric vehicle market, it's been incredibly rapid.
Absolutely.
They went from 0 to 258,000 deliveries in just a little over a year.
Incredible number.
Yeah, and just last month, they hit a remarkable 28,000 deliveries and actually became the sales champion in China for that 200,000 plus yuan price segment with their SU7 sedan.
Right, the SU7 success story.
Exactly. Now, they're bringing that momentum, that energy to the SUV space.
Yeah.
And the source article poses some fascinating questions right up front.
It really does. Questions that, really grab your interest, like, can its claimed 835-kilometer range actually be real? Does its performance genuinely stack up against vehicles that cost like 1,000,000 yuan or more?
That's a bold claim.
And perhaps most intriguingly, how does Xiaomi believe it can genuinely take on the sheer dominance of the Model Y? That's what we're here to explore for you today, sort of peeling back the layers of this announcement.
Okay, let's start with the identity then. Xiaomi seems to have thought pretty deeply about this. The name is Y7 or YU7.
YU7.
And the source explains this isn't random. It's derived from Zhuangzi's classical text, ed, and translates roughly to driving with the wind.
Driving with the wind. That instantly signals a certain aspiration, doesn't it? It's not about just, getting from A to B.
No, definitely not. And the source is very clear on Xiaomi's positioning. The YU7 is explicitly not intended to be just an ordinary average SUV.
Okay.
Exactly. Their stated goal is to deliver a luxury, high-performance SUV.
Luxury and high performance.
Right. They are targeting characteristics like elegant styling, genuine driving pleasure, spacious comfort, and an overall luxurious experience for everyone inside.
And it's not just a taller SU7.
No, the source clarifies that. It's built on the same foundational architecture, sure, but it's got a completely new design aimed specifically at this luxury SUV aesthetic. And crucially, they want to maintain a sports car-like handling feel despite its size.
Interesting. So engineered from the ground up to embody this kind of luxury performance identity.
Seemed like it.
When we talk about an SUV, size and presence are key. What does the source say about its physical dimensions?
Well, it's substantial. It measures 5 meters long,
5 meters.
a 3-meter wheelbase, and it's 2 meters wide. So this places it firmly in the mid-large SUV category.
In the large, okay.
But what's fascinating here is an observation from the source. Despite these large numbers, the vehicle apparently looks surprisingly compact visually. Yet inside, the space is noted as being remarkably generous.
Right, that visual trick. And they talk about something called proportion aesthetics. That sounds very deliberate, like the design wasn't just, left to chance.
Oh, absolutely. It's a core part of their pitch.
Yeah.
Xiaomi is emphasizing specific ratios that the source identifies as kind of established standards often found in luxury vehicle designs.
Like what ratio?
We're looking at things like 3x wheel to axle, 2.1x wheel to height, 1.25x width to height, and 1.3x head to body.
Okay, quite specific.
Very. And the insight here is that these precise proportions are intended to make the YU7 look balanced, athletic, and, aesthetically pleasing from pretty much any angle you view it.
Right.
The rear design, for example, is described as muscular, almost having a built-in wide body effect.
Okay.
Especially if you opt for the wider 275-millimeter rear tires, gives it that powerful stance.
So every angle, every dimension is contributing to this intended luxury performance image. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details the source highlights. What about the headlights?
Ah, yes, the water drop headlights. Beyond their distinctive look, the source notes they provide 180-degree ultra-wide-angle illumination, which is practical, obviously.
Sure.
But the design itself is the key detail here. They have this unique hollow section in the upper part, and an air duct visibly connects with the front hood.
An air duct.
Yeah. And the insight here is that this is a design feature you typically find on, like, million-yuan sports cars.
Really? On an SUV aiming for this market?
Exactly. Not something you'd expect. Suggests a real focus on high-end design cues.
That's surprising detail, yeah. And the back.
The halo taillights. They're an evolution of the design from the SU7, but adapted specifically for the SUV form factor. They're described as simple, three-dimensional, and powerful,
Okay.
designed to be particularly eye-catching, especially at night.
And what about something as, well, seemingly simple as the door handles?
Even those got attention. They've opted for electric, inward-folding handles.
That's handy.
Right. The source notes they automatically pop out as you approach the vehicle and smoothly retract when you leave or settle inside.
Neat.
It's a detail that adds to the car's clean, premium aesthetic when parked, and importantly, also contributes to reducing wind resistance while driving.
Speaking of wind resistance,
Yeah.
the source spends a significant amount of time detailing aerodynamic optimization. This seems like a major focus for them.
It really is. The article highlights an almost obsessive level of detail here.
Obsessive.
Well, they've integrated 10 sets of through-flow ducts and 19 distinct vents just to precisely manage airflow around the vehicle.
10 sets and 19 vents.
Wow. The active grille has 100 intelligent opening and closing levels to optimize air intake and aero. The rear spoiler, they say, was refined over 100 iterations.
100 versions of the spoiler.
Primarily so.
Yeah.
And the large seamless clamshell hood design isn't just for looks. It also plays a role in managing airflow over the front of the car.
So all that engineering effort, all those ducts and vents,
Mm-hmm.
what's the payoff? What does it achieve?
The result, after over 40 specific aerodynamic optimizations, is a drag coefficient of 0.245.
0.245. That's
Yep.
really low for an SUV, isn't it?
It is. The insight here is how exceptional this is, especially for a sports SUV of this size. And the source quantifies the benefit directly. This level of aerodynamic efficiency adds a tangible 59 kilometers to the vehicle's range.
59 kilometers just from aero. That's significant. That's a serious return on investment for all that design work.
Absolutely.
Now, moving to something more visual colors. The source addresses Xiaomi isn't just sticking to the usual, grayscale palette.
No, they're deliberately going for high saturation colors, which is a notable departure in a market often dominated by variations of black, white, and gray.
Right, you see so much of that.
But what's particularly interesting is the R&D behind this. The source says they spent 13 months just on ensuring these vibrant colors wouldn't fade significantly.
13 months, just on paint durability.
Yes. Even after 10-20 years of outdoor exposure, that investment, well, it speaks volumes about their commitment to quality and making a visual statement that lasts.
That's a detail that really emphasizes their long-term view, yeah. What are some of the highlight colors we'll see initially?
The first release colors are quite striking, according to the source. There's gemstone green,
Gemstone green.
specifically inspired by Colombian emeralds. It requires a complex double-layer paint process using 3-color cans, apparently costing significantly more than standard finishes.
So a premium paint option right there.
Definitely. Then there's titanium metallic, which uses coarse aluminum powder for a look that aims for sort of low-key luxury combined with metallic strength.
Okay.
Lava orange is described as extremely vibrant, maybe designed for a passionate, youthful demographic.
Bright orange, bold.
And they're also bringing back carrier gray, a classic color they've used before. Plus, they plan to roll out 5 more new colors later on.
A lot of thought clearly went into the exterior design and the colors. Stepping inside, the source paints a picture of an aviation cabin. What does that mean?
That phrase really sets the tone for the interior experience they're aiming for. The centerpiece seems to be the Xiaomi Horizon Screen panoramic display system.
Horizon screen.
And this isn't just a single large screen. The source explains it integrates 3 mini LED panels and uses panoramic curve projection onto the black area under the windshield.
So it creates this really immersive, wide display area, like across the dash.
Exactly. It results in a massive 1.1-meter ultra-wide display area with Ultra Retina HD resolution. So you get this huge high-definition canvas for information and infotainment.
Very cool. And the rest of the interior design.
It features a double-curve wraparound style with clean, simple shapes, a thin instrument panel designed for clear, forward visibility. And crucially, the source notes that all areas people come into contact with are 100% soft wrap.
Soft touch everywhere.
Pretty much. And a key detail here about materials is that everything apparently has international Class 1 certification.
Class 1. What's that signify?
It means it's rated safe for direct contact with infants.
Oh, wow. That's a thoughtful touch. Focus squarely on passenger well-being, especially for families.
Yeah, it definitely seems user-focused.
Okay, let's talk comfort. How are the seats? You mentioned luxury.
Right. They are explicitly designed for luxury and comfort in the YU7, distinguishing them from the sportier seats you find in the SU7 sedan.
Okay.
A standout feature, according to the source, is the zero-gravity seats.
Zero-gravity seats. Okay, tell me more about that concept. What does that actually involve?
It's a design inspired by the scientific distribution of body pressure. These are available for the front driver and passenger.
Front seats. Interesting.
Yes. These seats adjust the leg and back angles beyond 120 degrees. The insight here is that this specific angle is meant to scientifically distribute body weight, enhancing comfort significantly, almost like taking pressure off your body.
Makes sense.
And they even include a 10-point massage function to complete that luxury experience.
A massage, too. That sounds incredibly comfortable, especially on a long drive.
They've clearly prioritized comfort. The driver's zero-gravity seat in particular is described as having a complex 12-layer structure.
12 layers.
Designed to be thicker, softer, and provide more support, using materials like zero-pressure sponge and high-density memory foam. And all seats are covered in Nappa leather, known for its incredibly delicate and soft touch.
Premium materials, complex structure. But the source mentioned a specific reason they put those zero-gravity seats in the front, which feels a bit unusual for an SUV, doesn't it?
It does seem unusual at first glance, but that's a great example of their potentially user-centric design approach. Apparently, Xiaomi found that users often rest, wait, or take breaks while sitting in the driver's seat.
Ah, okay. Waiting for charging, maybe? Or just taking a break.
Exactly. So instead of just focusing on the rear seats for luxury features, as is common in some SUVs, they prioritized putting this premium comfort feature where they observed users spend significant resting time right there in the front.
That's a small detail, but it reveals a lot about their design process, thinking about actual user behavior.
It does. The rear seats haven't been ignored, though. The Thor says they are comfortable and offer electric stepless recline over a generous 35-degree range, described as providing comfort comparable to other luxury cars.
Okay, so comfort is definitely covered. What about practicality? SUVs are meant to carry things, right? How does the YU7 handle storage?
Yeah, good question. It's designed with flexibility in mind. Up front, there's that large, seamless clamshell hood we mentioned, covering over 3 square meters.
Right.
And beneath that is a front trunk, or frunk, with a usable 141 liters of capacity.
141 liters in the front. That's a decent size, always a bonus in an EV.
It is. And what about total cargo volume?
Right, the main space.
The total vehicle storage volume is quite impressive, reaching up to 1,970 liters with the seats configured for maximum space.
Nearly 2,000 liters. That's a lot.
It is. And the source gives some great real-world scenarios to illustrate this. Easily fitting 2 people with 2 bikes and all their luggage.
Okay, bikes are a good test.
Or 3 people with 3 sets of skis and luggage. Or 4 people comfortable on a road trip with multiple suitcases and bags. The insight seems to be that they've designed the interior space and folding configuration with actual usage needs clearly in mind.
So practical storage and luxury comfort combined. But you mentioned this is a high-performance SUV. Let's get to those numbers, the exciting bit.
Okay, prepare for this. The source presents some seriously impressive figures for an SUV. We're talking 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.23 seconds.
3.23 seconds
Yeah.
in an SUV this size.
Yeah, it boasts a maximum of 690 horsepower and a top speed of 253 kilometers.
Those are not typical SUV numbers, are they? Those are sports car numbers.
That's exactly the insight Xiaomi set out to be pushing. The source explicitly notes these figures are excellent for this class, and indeed surpass direct competitors like the Tesla Model Y Performance, which does 0-100 in 3.7 seconds.
Right, noticeably quicker than the Model Y Perf.
And it even edges out the Porsche Macan EV Turbo's 3.3 seconds.
Wow, faster than the Macan Turbo EV too.
According to these figures, yes. This is achieved, in part, with the Xiaomi Supermotor V6S Plus. It's an upgraded version that reaches a high 22,000 RPM, delivering improved torque and power compared to their previous motors.
Okay, so the power is definitely there. What about how it handles all that power, the ride and chassis setup?
They've specified a robust chassis.
Yeah.
It comes standard with continuous variable damping shock absorbers.
DDC dampers, standard.
Standard, yes. The insight here is that these can precisely and instantly match various road conditions, optimizing both ride comfort and handling stability on the fly.
Adaptive suspension, basically.
Exactly. And for those seeking the absolute pinnacle, there's a high-spec option. B4 dual-chamber air suspension.
Air suspension. Okay, that adds a whole other layer of capability.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah.
This system offers 5 different height settings with a significant maximum adjustment range of 75 millimeter.
75 millimeters range. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, allowing for a maximum ground clearance of 222 millimeter. And crucially, The source highlights its ability to quickly adjust stiffness with a maximum difference of over 40% between its high and low stiffness settings.
So it can be comfortable or sporty depending on the mode.
That's the idea, giving it versatility for everything from comfortable cruising to dynamic driving.
And slowing down from those speeds. How's the braking performance?
Braking performance also sounds top tier. The source states the shortest braking distance from 100 kilometers is an impressive 33.9 meters.
33.9 meters, that's really good stopping power.
Yeah, they favorably compare it to a Porsche 911 stopping power. Plus, it includes 4 levels of automatic redundant safety mechanisms in the braking system, adding an extra layer of security.
Redundancy is good. Okay, performance is clearly a strong suit. What about the different versions or trims available?
The source lists 3 versions, noting their similarity in structure to what you see with Model Y trims. There's a single-motor rear-wheel drive,
The entry point.
a dual-motor all-wheel drive, and a high-performance all-wheel drive.
Okay, RWD, AWD, Performance AWD. Makes sense.
What's interesting is that all versions, well, the AWD ones at least, come equipped with that potent V6S plus Xiaomi supermotor, enabling that fastest 0-100 acceleration figure of 3.23 seconds.
So even the regular AWD is hitting that crazy acceleration.
It seems so, based on the source's description of the motor usage and those standard chassis and brake tech features you mentioned earlier.
The CDC, dampers, and the brakes.
Yes, fixed calipers, the 4-level redundant brake safety system, and the continuous variable damping shock absorbers are reported as standard across all versions.
So even the base model gets advanced handling and braking tech. That's good value.
Seems like it.
Now, range. This
Yeah.
is absolutely critical for electric vehicles, isn't it? Especially in SUV where you might plan longer trips. The source makes a point about the battery being the most expensive component.
Yeah, they emphasize that range comes at a cost, with the battery pack making up something like 40% of the vehicle's price.
40%, wow.
But the figures they've achieved, well, they look genuinely market-leading for a mid-large pure electric SUV, according to the source.
Okay, let's hear those range numbers. This is key.
Okay, the standard version, the RWD one, offers an impressive 835 kilometers of range.
835 kilometers.
Yes, using a 96.3 kilowatt battery. The AWD version gets 770 kilometers,
Yeah.
also with that 96.3 kilowatt battery.
Still very strong, 770 kilometers.
In the high-performance version, equipped with a slightly larger 101.7 kilowatt ternary lithium battery, achieves 760 kilometers.
Okay, so 835 kilometers on the standard range model is massive. How does that stack up against the competition, specifically the Model Y?
Well, the source states this range makes the YU7 #1 among all mid-large pure electric SUVs currently available.
Number one.
That's the claim. And the insight here is clear. Even the AWD version's 770 kilometer range exceeds the Tesla Model Y's listed range of 719 kilometers.
So they've directly targeted and surpassed a key competitor metric right there.
Exactly. That's a significant differentiator they're highlighting.
Range is great, but getting that range back quickly is just as important, right? How fast does it charge?
They're built on an 800V silicon carbide high-voltage platform, which is really the foundation for rapid charging these days.
800-volt architecture.
Yeah, the Max version, presumably the top trim, is capable of supporting 5.2C charging.
5.2C. What does that mean in practical terms for the driver?
The source says it can add up to 620 kilometers of range in just 15 minutes.
620 kilometers in a quarter hour. That's incredibly fast charging. That's game-changing if true.
It is remarkably fast. The 10% to 80% charge time is stated to be only 12 minutes.
12 minutes, 10 to 80.
Yeah, and the source puts this into perspective by comparing it. The Model Y takes around 27 minutes for 10-80%,
Okay, more than double the time.
and a Mercedes EQS takes about 21 minutes. So the insight is that the YU7 appears to offer significantly faster charging than key competitors, even those in higher price brackets.
That's powerful tech, enabling both long-range and fast charging. Let's dig into some of the other innovative technologies the source mentions are built into the platform itself.
Sure. At its core is the Modena technology architecture, which apparently builds on the strengths of the SU7, but with significant upgrades specifically for the YU7.
Okay, upgrades like what?
Well, there's a comprehensive upgrade to what they call the Armor Dragon body. The insight here seems to be a big focus on structural safety and battery protection.
Armor Dragon body. Sounds tough.
It does. They highlight a larger front absorption space, 659 millimeter, which is apparently 100 millimeters more than the Model Y.
More crush zone.
Designed to absorb more impact energy, yeah. There's also a robust 1500 MPa crossbeam under the car, specifically to protect the battery pack.
Protecting the battery is crucial.
And the battery base uses what's described as the same ultra-light bulletproof coating technology as the SU7.
Bulletproof coating on the battery base again? That sounds like they're really serious about preventing underside damage or punctures.
It certainly conveys a sense of extreme durability and safety focus, doesn't it?
Mm.
They also emphasize the use of 2200 mPa Xiaomi ultra-strong steel.
2200 mPa, that's very high-strength steel.
They state this is the highest strength hot-form steel currently in mass production.
Right.
And its use in the anti-collision beams in all 4 doors, plus integrated into the A and B pillars with hot expanded tubes, forms what they call an embedded roll cage structure.
An embedded roll cage.
That's the term they use. The claimed insight is a massive increase in load capacity for the A pillar, plus 35%, and the B pillar, plus 70.5%, pointing to exceptionally high structural integrity and rollover protection.
That level of structural reinforcement sounds like a significant safety feature beyond just crash absorption. What about the electronics and software side of things? Any innovations there?
There's an interesting piece of hardware integration mentioned called the 4-in-1 controller.
4-in-1? What's that merging?
The insight here is simplification and efficiency. Instead of having 4 separate computer units for ADS, the driver assistance systems, the smart cockpit, overall vehicle control, and the communication module.
Right, usually separate boxes.
They've merged them into a single central brain. This apparently reduces physical volume and weight from 5 kilograms down to 3.6 kilograms.
That's quite a saving.
And its significance optimizes energy efficiency, improves communication speed between systems, and just reduces the overall number of complex controllers in the car.
Fewer points of failure too, perhaps.
Potentially. For the cockpit itself, the source notes it's powered by a high-end Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip that's a 4nm mobile platform.
Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Okay, that's powerful. Should be smooth.
Contributing to a very smooth user experience, yeah.
Okay.
OTA updates are also claimed to be very fast, around 15 minutes.
15 minutes for a major update is quick. And the ADS system itself, the suite of driver assistance features, is that standard or an option?
That's a key point the source highlights. The powerful ADS system is standard across all versions of the YU7.
Standard across the range, including Lidar.
Yes, it boasts a hefty 702 OPS of compute power, utilizing the Nvidia Thor platform.
702 PS, wow.
And the hardware suite is extensive. Lidar, with a 200-meter detection range, 40-millimeter wave radar, 11 high-definition cameras, 7 of which feature an LED coating for clearer vision in varying conditions, and 12 ultrasonic radars.
That's a serious sensor suite.
It is. The insight here isn't just the list of sensors, but that this combination of powerful hardware and compute power is included as standard, laying the foundation for advanced driver assistance capabilities across the entire lineup, not just on the top trims.
That's a lot of tech and capability being included from the get-go. So pulling all this together, let's summarize what Xiaomi says is standard across the entire YU7 lineup based on the source, and then we have to address the big question. Price.
Okay, so Xiaomi apparently refers to the standard package as a supersized standard version, and based on what the source details, you can kind of see why.
Supersized standard.
Standard features reportedly include the large battery pack, enabling that ultra-long range we talked about.
Right, the 835-kilometer potential.
The extensive Xiaomi Horizon Screen panoramic display system.
The big wraparound screen.
The powerful 700 TOPS compute power, and Lidar for the 80 system.
High-end 80s hardware.
And the continuous variable damping shock absorbers for dynamic handling.
CDC dampers standard.
The messaging, according to the source, is that these are features you'd typically only find in higher trims, like Pro or Max versions from other brands. And Xiaomi is presenting this as their keeping it real or sincere approach, essentially giving you a lot of the premium tech from the start, baked into the base price.
That's a strong value proposition on paper, isn't it? Bundling all those features as standard. But, okay, the crucial factor for competitiveness is always the price. What does the source hint at? Where is this likely to land?
Right. The specific price will be officially announced at the launch, which is expected in July. However, Xiaomi has provided some guidance, it seems. The source notes that they've stated the configuration far exceeds that of the Model Y, which currently starts around 263,500 yuan in China.
Far exceeds the Model Y.
Based on this positioning and all the features included as standard, they've indicated the YU7's price is likely to be, get this, 60,000 to 70,000 yuan higher than the Model Y starting price.
60 to 70,000 more than the Model Y starting price.
That's the indication.
Yeah.
The insight here is that this suggests a starting price for the YU7 likely won't be below 300,000 yuan.
Okay, so definitely pushing into the 300K plus yuan territory.
Seems very likely. The source also explicitly mentions Lei Jin, Xiaomi's CEO, publicly denying speculation that the price would be as low as 199,000 yuan.
Right, killing those low price rumors.
Exactly. Reinforcing that it will be positioned in a higher bracket, consistent with the luxury and performance claims.
So definitely aimed at the higher end of the market than where the base Model Y sits, which I suppose aligns with that luxury performance positioning they've been emphasizing all along.
Exactly. The price is intended to reflect the premium features, the performance, the range, and the technology they're bundling in as standard.
Wow. Well, this deep dive into the Volt China source has been incredibly revealing, hasn't it? The Xiaomi YU7, as presented here, is clearly a hugely ambitious entry into the mid-large SUV market. It appears to challenge competitors directly, not just the Model Y in terms of metrics like range and potentially performance, but also establish luxury brands with its design cues, materials, and those performance figures.
Yeah, the technical capability and the sheer amount of premium hardware and features included as standard across the range are, well, undeniably impressive on paper.
They're certainly not holding back, are they?
No, doesn't seem like it. The level of detail in the engineering, the focus on both performance and luxury comfort, and the standard inclusion of advanced tech like Lidar and CBC, it paints a picture of a very serious contender.
Which brings us, I think, to the big questions that the source leaves us with, and maybe something for you, our listener, to consider as we wrap up this deep dive. Given the sheer capability of this product as detailed in the article, and that expected pricing, positioning it potentially above 300,000 yuan, can Xiaomi truly maintain sufficient competitiveness in that price bracket?
Yeah, that's the key question, is that what kind of market dynamics will it really face once it launches? It won't just be competing against the Model Y at that price, but other established players in that higher-end luxury SUV space too.
Exactly. And the overarching question, the one that kind of framed our mission today, with all this tech, all this range, all this performance, can the Xiaomi YU7 genuinely shake the Tesla Model Y's long-held position, not just in China, but potentially, eventually, on a global stage?
That's the multi-million-dollar question, I suppose.
Something to think about as we await the official launch and confirmation of all these details, expected in July. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We hope this look into the Volt China source on the Xiaomi YU7 gave you some valuable insights.